Lesson 5. Identifying the traps. Traps and tricks of the trade. Regardless of your gender, the tactics that are most commonly used against both men and women are similar. They just may be implemented differently. One of the most popular tricks of the trade is when you're reaching out to local producers and other artists. You must consider that they already have ties to certain labels or groups. In my case, again, each presented themselves as separate entities, and as a newcomer, you would be unaware of these alliances and professional relationships that may be in play. These tactics include love, isolation, sex, drugs, and alcohol, just to name a few, but ultimately it is usually designed around each individual. The topics below are meant to prepare you for the worst case scenario. They are some of the possible traps that can be used as forms of influencing and controlling you and can negatively affect your future goals. Remember that there are so many talented young people who may have been sheltered their whole lives by their parents or religious groups, and they have no idea of what it is that they'll be dealing with. In previous decades, it's common for the spouses of artists to have their husbands assume management of their careers and finances. But don't be fooled. These men are chosen, and they can't just be any Tom, Dick, or Harry, because they must be in a certain class or group to ensure that they are properly aligned. A female artist's career can definitely be affected by her choice of relationship material or manager, and by their association. Some female artists will attempt to separate the two, but they will soon come to realize that even if you manage to bend this rule temporarily, behind the scenes, the plotting of your career's demise has already begun. Even some of the strongest-willed women have found themselves caught up in the traps disguised as love set up by a system. The first topic is sex and isolation. Sex and isolation are an age-old technique used by either male or female abusers to manipulate. Usually under the guise of love, the abuser attempts to portray themselves as the only person who cares for them, while planting fear and doubt with regards to others. Soon after this newfound relationship has begun to blossom, the victim is usually separated from their loved ones and outside influence, and they are controlled. The only continuous contact is now the isolator. And once isolated, the "if you love me, you will" games will begin, and the abuse usually escalates. At the onset, the isolator appears to be everything to its victim while building trust, sweeping them off their feet with the next tactic, the "I love yous." There are so many young people caught up in the game, and there's no shortage of those who will pay top dollar for sexual gratification. This brings us to the next method, which is a definite favorite. Love, lust, and sex are reality